Hi, my name is Gabe, and this is Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link for the Nintendo Entertainment System. This will be a 100% walkthrough that you and your friends can watch and enjoy, which will lead you to completion. I will state this is a difficult game. I consider this to be an above average in difficulty levels. But I don't want to discourage everyone. You can beat this game if you put your mind to it. And that's what we're about to do. After Ganon was destroyed, Impa told Link a sleeping spell was cast on Princess Zelda. She will wake only with the power of number 3 Triforce sealed in Palace in Hyrule. To break the seal, crystals must be placed in statues in 6 well-guarded palaces. Link set out on his most adventuresome quest yet. Alright, here we go. I had previously just made a save file, because I forgot to start recording. Here's a good thing. If you want to delete something, you press, you can toggle through this with select, and you press start on elimination mode. And you just press start on the thing you want to get rid of, and press start to end. Okay, so now we want to make a new save file, so register your name. I'll just go with Link. And there we go. Alright, Link. Okay, so you'll notice right off the bat, this is kind of weird. This is a platforming Zelda game. Zelda 2 gets a lot of hate. Maybe from its difficulty, maybe because it's so radically different than Zelda 1. Maybe because people just don't think it's a very good Zelda game. It is difficult. It is different than Zelda 1. And maybe it doesn't fit the Zelda formula the best, but I still believe that it's a very fun game, and it's one of the best titles on the NES, in my opinion. But yeah, that's just me. If you're watching this, you're probably at least somewhat interested in it. But if you don't like it, that's cool too. Let's see here. So, basic controls, left and right on the D-pad, and then down to duck. B is attack with your sword, and A is jump. And you have a shield, and this comes into like technical combat situations. And you'll learn new moves along the way, but this is your most basic moveset. That's Zelda right there, she's sleeping, and we need to get the Triforce of Courage to wake her up. In order to do that, we need to place the 6 crystals. If you press start, you can pause. We have nothing in our menu right now. You see we have 2 extra lives besides this one, so we have 3 shots. We have no keys, and we have all 6 crystals still, and we want to get that down to 0. So you just leave to the right, and all of a sudden, boom, we are in a top-down area similar to Zelda 1. So this is the world map, and you can get to this is how you travel between locations essentially. Now, you can have random encounters like any RPG, but as long as you're on pathways like this, stuff won't pop up, but as soon as you leave the pathway, these monsters will show up. Since I went back onto the pathway before they touched me, nothing happened. But and then you'll have to fight them. And you get experience from fighting monsters, and you can level up throughout the game, and leveling up is very important. And then on the world map there's tons of special secrets and areas in the world map, and this is one of them. I think I got into a battle immediately when I tried to come in here, so this isn't the secret, but Yeah, I have sword beams when I'm at full health. Now it's just a basic battle scenario. Let's go back in. Okay, so this is the area you want to be in. So these are aches. They're bat enemies. And they'll swoop down either towards you or away from you, and they just take 1 or 2 hits to beat. As you level up, you'll do more damage, you'll take less damage, and you'll have more magic capability, which we'll get into. So this is a points bag, and whenever you pick something up, you just want to stab it with your sword. So our first level up just costs 50. You can see in the top right, it says next, and we have 56 out of 50 experience points right now. Now that number will increase incredibly exponentially to the point, I think the max level up you can have is 9,000, which is a lot. Now, when you get to an experience point, or when you get to a benchmark of experience, you can either cancel and save your experience to level up to another thing, or you can level up to the thing that you want to get. So if I were to cancel the next experience I would get to, the next benchmark I would get to, I would level up my magic. I don't really do that though. You can if it's like a strategic situation and you have it all planned out, but when you game over you lose all your experience, and I just prefer to level up as soon as I get enough experience. So just press start on every one you choose. So now you'll see there's a 2 next to my life bar up there, and that means that I'll take less damage than I used to. Alright, let's just leave to the right. Okay, now there are also towns in Zelda 2, and there's one right down here. So this is the first town you'll probably visit, and you can read signs by pressing B. Welcome to Raru. Seasoned Zelda fans will realize that many of these towns are the names of the sages from Ocarina of Time, which is kind of cool. So you can talk to townsfolk. Most of them aren't very helpful, but you always want to go into houses and talk to people when the doors are open. If all else fails, use fire. Thanks. Just like Zelda 1, the hints aren't incredibly helpful, but they're better than nothing. So, in every town there's always a lady in red pacing around outside her house, and when you talk to her, she'll let you go inside, and then that'll fully restore your health. So, towns not only serve as safe havens from monsters and stuff, but also health restoration. Now, this lady coming out of her house, you want to talk to her, and she says, "Talk with my father before you leave town." Okay, so press up to go in. She gives you a pretty helpful piece of advice here. Each town has a wise man. Learn from him. Okay, so I believe there are 8 towns in the game. And like she says, each town is a wise man, this like wizard dude. And he gives you a different spell in each one. In Parappa Desert, use this magic to survive. So he's given us the shield spell. This is the most basic spell, and basically it allows us to give Link a temporary red tunic for 1 screen, and he takes half damage that entire time. And as you may have guessed, when you use spells, you use up your magic. Magic drops regularly by enemies, health does not, so keep that in mind. Get Candle in Parappa Palace. Go west. Thank you, little Timmy. Okay. So now that we've done that, we've gotten the experience, we've gotten the shield spell. Ooh. Occasionally on the map, instead of enemies spawning, like fairies will show up. And fairies in this game operate like the great fairies in Zelda 1. You just grab them and they fully restore you. Alright, we want to enter this cave right here, because this leads to the Parappa Palace area. Now, it's super dark in caves by default, and you can't see enemies, which makes it pretty dangerous. Now, I believe so So if you saw the ground there, you could kind of see a loader crawling around. That's just that thing. We don't want to go in too many caves right now. It's the only cave we're going to go in before we can actually see them better. Now these so here's another action sequence, and they depend on what type of tile you're on and what area you're in. And these you can just block with your shield. Now Parappa Palace is north, but we want to go down this path real quick because there's an important item down here that we can get. Now here's a even though we're on a pathway, sometimes you'll find kind of staged sequences like this on pathways. These are air bubbles, and they're kind of annoying. They'll just come up from the ground and hit you, and if you fall in the water, you will instantly die. So try not to do that. Because if you, die, you lose a life, and if you lose all your lives, you'll get a game over. If you get a game over, not only will you be sent all the way back to the North Palace, the palace you started in with Zelda, but also you lose all of your experience points that you built up. And right now, that's not too bad, since I went the wrong way. Since we only have like 100 experience points, but it can be pretty devastating later on. Now I want to walk into this square of grass, and there's a heart container. But there's also an orange Garaya over there, which is this boomerang throwing enemy. So heart containers will fully heal you, so fight the Garaya first, and then get the heart container. I'm going to equip the shield spell so I don't take too much damage. The way you do spells is you press start to pause. You mouse to the spell you want with the D-pad, except there's only one spell, so it's default selected. And then you just press the select button. Notice it used up half of my magic. Now I'm red, and I'll take half damage from this guy. And the combat in this game is really just a learning experience. You want to anticipate, and I'm doing trash right now. You want to anticipate where he's going to throw the boomerang and block it like that. Sometimes he'll throw it really low and it'll wrap around to hit you in the back. Sometimes he'll throw it semi-low and you can just duck and hit it immediately. And same with when he throws it high. I kill the Garaya, and now we have an extra, I want to call it heart container, because it's more like a vessel of life. Alright, now we have to travel back through the bubble sequence. Again, be real careful here, because it is so easy to die. Whoa. The music in Zelda 2 is also, like, just very good. In my opinion, of course. Alright, and here we are. This is Parappa Palace, the first dungeon of the game. And this has some awesome music as well. Sometimes these are called Iron Knuckles, these knight guys, and there are statues of them all over palaces, and usually these first ones, right out in front of a palace, will drop a red magic potion or bottle, which will fully restore your magic, but I don't think that first one does. It is of no consequence. Come down this elevator. The way you go down elevators, just up and down. These are tin suits. They don't give you any experience, and they'll steal some if they hit you, so they're like super easy, but also annoying if they gang up on you. And then here are bots, little slime enemies. Give you a few experience. And come this way. There's a Stolfos. The way you fight these guys is you have to duck and hit them in the legs. Gives you a decent amount of experience. Boom, pick up that key. You can see it on the menu if you pause. Alright, now we want to head back this way. So each palace has the boss that guards the statue you need to put the crystal into, but each palace also has a dungeon item, which is crucial to beating the game. So definitely make sure that you pick up the item every time. Of course, I'm gonna walk you through picking up the items, but if you decide halfway through that you want to do some stuff by yourself, there's that. So if you have a key, you can just walk through a key door just like that and it automatically uses up. This is a bubble. They return from the first game, and they will steal magic if they touch you. They'll also hurt you. And if you hit them like 10 million times, they'll drop 50 experience. Later on, we'll get a much easier method of killing them, but right now it's just really not worth it. Another Stalfos. Close to leveling up. Alright, so down here takes us to the path that leads to the dungeon item. But, ooh. Level up our magic. Oh yeah, when you level up your magic or life, it'll fully restore as well. So that leads to the dungeon item, but we actually need a key to get to it. And the keys are over here, so we'll go this way first. Another thing to point out, your sword beams won't work on stronger enemies, only really weak ones, which makes them kind of useless. There's a Great Fairy over here. I don't need it right now, but I might come back to grab it later. But yeah, so your sword beams are definitely not as powerful as they were in Zelda 1. So here's a key, but you want to keep going because we can find yet another key if we continue down this hallway. There's a magic drop. I think it's like every time you kill 6 weak enemies, you get a blue bottle, but that's not, I'm not sure. Alright, so over here is something called, I think it's like a Guma, and it's like this hammer bro looking dude, and he packs a punch, so you'll probably want to equip shield. Notice that since we leveled our magic up, shield doesn't use as much. So wait until you have a break in his fire, and then sneak in. And the best thing to do is just pin him up against the wall and slash away at him. There we go, grab the key. Are you gonna drop a red potion? Yes, you will. Thank you. Whoa. I don't think it happens in this first palace, but you'll have to be careful with those iron knuckle statues, because sometimes they can also just turn into an iron knuckle. Although I think it's rarer that happens than them dropping a red potion. Iron knuckles aren't too hard once you get used to fighting them, but they can be a pain if it's your first rodeo. Whoa. Another thing to note, stronger enemies like Stalfos and Gumas and Iron Knuckles won't respawn, but weaker enemies like Aches and Bots will. Alright, so we want to go this way. Oh yeah, this room. It's kind of like impossible to not get hit in this room. Just the way the bubbles are laid out, so I just say equip shield and run left as fast as you can. Ow. Ow. Look at how much magic they've drained from me. Whoa. Come down here. There we go. There's an experience bag across this bridge, and it's kind of hard to get since it's falling out from under you, but if you're quick, you can get it. Yes, level up my life again. And the bridge will respawn the next time you come in, so you don't have to worry about conserving it. Alright, so this is our first... Oh, we don't have enough for shield. That's unfortunate. Alright. We will have to just be really good at the video game then. And again, you don't lose experience for losing a life only when you get a game over. When you lose a life, you restart in the same room that you were in, or the same screen that you were on. So there's not too big a penalty to losing a life, except for the fact that you're one step closer to, ooh, thank you, getting a game over. Also losing a life can be handy if you're really low in magic. Your magic and life are fully restored when you lose a life. Alright, here's an orange iron knuckle. Now you have to time this, so basically you jump and hit it right when you're about head level. It's a pretty specific timing, but it's not too bad once you get it. Just like you slash on your way down, because it's impossible, or it's very hard to hit them normal head on, because their shields they'll just immediately block you. Alright, here's the dungeon item. This is the candle, and that allows us... Most of the items in Zelda 2 are like... How do I say this? They're like automatic. Kind of like the raft and Blue Ring and Book of Magic from Zelda 1. You don't actually use them. The things that you use are your spells. And most of your items just kind of sit there and take effect on their own. So... Excuse me. The candle, now that we have the candle, we can actually see a lot better in caves. And we can see all the enemies and everything that's going on with them. Which is helpful in the overworld, not necessarily helpful in the dungeon, though. Ooh. And occasionally enemies will drop points bags as well. And the value of their points bags will correspond with the value of their normal experience amount. Please don't hurt me. It looks like you're about to hurt me. Looks like you really want to hurt me right now. Oh, there we go. I think I pulled it off that time. Do you have a potion? No, you don't. Alright. We still have one key. And that's good, because there's one more key door in this dungeon, right? And when we're on the pathway towards the boss. So come this way. There's the fairy still. If you use the fairy, it's not going to come back, but I think it might come back after a game over, though. Alright, now we have to fight an Iron Knuckle in close quarters, where your head bobs on the ceiling. And you kind of hover if the ceiling is too low, for a while. So the timing is still kind of the same, but it can be pretty... It can mess you up a little bit. There's some Stolfos. If they're on a higher level than you, it gets a bit easier, because you can just kind of slash at their feet. Ooh. Maybe not. I could play it safe. Hopefully I can get a new magic drop soon. Another Guma. Oh, that was an opportunity that I should have taken. There we go. Yeah, yeah. 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 Please die. Thank you. Alright, I think there's another Iron Knuckle over here. Hello? There you are. Just lure him out to the open so we can get him easier. Ooh, nice. Let's level up the magic again. Bum, 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 bum. Alright, and here is the boss room. So since we, whenever you see curtains, you know the boss is coming up. Since we leveled up our magic, we actually have enough to use a shield here. If you don't know what to use in a right before a boss, you should always use a shield, because that's always helpful. So the boss of this palace is Horsehead, and he has a horse head and a mace. You want to try... He's kind of the same method as a Dark Nut, or not a Dark Nut, I'm sorry, Iron Knuckle. You get those two confused. Except you have to... You kind of want to slash higher than you think you should. And there we go. Usually bosses will drop a decent amount of experience as well. Alright, grab the key. Now, here's one more thing to consider. bosses, whenever you place a crystal in the temple closes forever and you can't go back into it. Maybe if you haven't gotten the dungeon item, you can go back in. But you will always level up, no matter how many experience points you are away from it. So, if I was like really close to leveling up, if I was at like 350, 375, I'd probably go back in the temple and just kind of grind, so then I could level up twice. But since I'm like just barely over halfway, I might as well just get the level up from this. So walk right across, place the crystal, and then it's going to tick all the way up until it gets to the next level. And there we go. Level 2 attack, level 3 magic, and level 4 life. When you leave the palace, it just turns into a rock. Alright, so, I think that's about gonna do it for this episode. I just pressed start on the world map to pause it. And now saving in Zelda 2 is just like Zelda 1. So you pause the game, it doesn't matter if you're in side-scrolling or top-down, you pause. And then you grab your second controller, and you press up and A at the same time. And there we go. And we want to mouse down to save with the select button. And once again, when you turn off the console, if you're playing on original hardware, hold in the reset button as you turn off power to guarantee your save data. So press the save, and there we go. One thing about Zelda 2 that's kind of annoying, that didn't happen in Zelda 1, is when you save, it counts as a death on your file. So see, I have a little 1 there. So like if you're like a purist or whatever, you want to beat the game with no numbers on your death count, you'll have to do it all in one sitting. I don't really care too much about that stuff, but yeah, that can happen, so that's a bit annoying. But thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys later.